Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to another episode of Into the Dungeonverse from New Minds Enrichment. I'm here with you as your host and guide today, Mr. Adam. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot of exciting and fun things for us to do today, including a live role play. I'll be introducing a friend here in just a moment who will be helping us out, kind of introducing the concept of role play, what the dynamic is between player, which is going to be you in the comments, and game runner, the person who tells the story and tells you whether what you thought was a good idea actually worked or not. Hi to whoever who's just hopping in. Please feel free to hop in, give us a greeting. Let me know who's there watching with me today. So I will be introducing my friend here in just a moment for some live role play. And then we will be doing some thematic art related to our reading that we've been doing at the end of our sessions. So make sure to start grabbing some supplies because you're going to need some paper, some pencils, maybe some pens, markers, things to color with, creating art. We are going to be creating a piece, and then we will also be adding back to our cartography. So if you are interested in continuing your map, make sure you have your map from the previous session, and we will continue that. If you have any dice or something that you want to use to help randomize what you're doing, definitely grab that as well. And then finally, as always, we will be ending with some story time. We're going to be going back to tea time with Mr. Tumnus, right where we left off. Lucy was getting ready to have tea with Mr. Tumnus, and we'll see what that whole situation is about and what's going on in Narnia. So you might hear some dings throughout as I'm going. Since I had some technical issues yesterday, I am making sure to kind of keep in touch with some of my New Minds friends like Mr. Walter and Mr. Dorian, who will let me know if I have any connection issues. So definitely just ignore those random dings that you hear. So it is time for me to introduce you to my friend Gorby. Gorby is a goblin. This is Gorby the Goblin. Now, if any of you are versed in different kinds of ornaments and I guess it wouldn't be an ornament, but art styles, this is actually a Norwegian troll. Norwegian trolls are an interesting kind of statuette. If you look them up, there's like giant ones that you can find places. Super cool. Gorby's a little confused. He thinks he's a goblin, and he's kind of in a rough situation. I'll tell you more about it. I have a Norwegian troll because I used to get a lot of lawn gnomes for gifts. I really liked lawn gnomes in high school, and then I got lawn gnomes for Christmas and birthday and everything for 6 years straight. And then I started asking for Norwegian trolls instead because they're a little different. So look them up. They're an interesting style. They're kind of like the Trolls toy that used to be popular. I don't know if they still exist or not. Crazy hair, and I wonder if maybe it's based off of that. Something interesting, but Gorby the Goblin, well, he was on his way to visit a friend, an old friend of his in the kingdom of Flomo. He was going to visit Rug the Rogue, and unfortunately, while he was on his way to visit Rug the Rogue in the kingdom of Flomo, he encountered someone else. He encountered a troll who really, really liked to collect different creatures he could find. Their goblins are a pretty easy mark for someone in something as large as he is, because here, let me hold them up side by side. Got to get creative here. Gorby, most of his height is hat. He's like up to the kneecap. So when the troll took him by surprise, Gorby, he's been captured. So I want to introduce to you guys a little bit like how roleplay works, because we talk about these games, but you don't need necessarily the games to play. What you need is an imagination, a story, and then people who want to hear or listen or experience your story. So I'm going to show you some of the tools we use here. I'm going to pan you down for just a second. I'm going to create a little bit of a scene for you, because the troll took Gorby back to his lair, and he wanted to keep him captive. Now here is where I'm going to need your help. Well, rather, Gorby is going to need your help. Gorby is trapped in this cage, and he was able to hide a couple of chicken bones in his pocket. He was able to hide a piece of paper in his pocket. But other than that, he doesn't have a lot. He's stuck in this cage. You're going to see that there's going to be a gate And if these walls look cool to you, they're actually 3D printed. They came from Mr. Walter, whose stream is up next around the world. I'm excited to watch that today. I don't know where we're going. I don't remember where we're going, but I'm excited to see it. So thank you, Mr. Walter, for gifting these to Masters of the Dungeonverse and allowing us to use these super cool things. Here's the gate that is locking our good friend Gorby in. Gorby just wants to go visit his friend Rug, but he got captured. So we're going to take Gorby, and we're going to put him in this cage. Now, where you come in as a group is you need to help Gorby, because while he is inside this little cage, while he is inside there, he actually finds a small crystal. And this crystal connects him to this strange world where people can watch things like on these screens from their home. And they can help him out by offering him some advice. Gorby is pretty scared. He's pretty confused. He's not sure why this troll took him captive. He sees that there are some other empty cages. Maybe there have been others captured like him. But he's totally stuck in here. He can't get out. The giant, the troll has made this. I'm going to pan it back up to me for just a second. The giant has made this out of just walls. He found these sections of walls and took them and just stacked them up to make this cage. So this cage looks unstable. Gorby is pretty concerned. He's not sure if it's even going to like stay there. It looks like we have a lot of people hopping in. Hi Walter, hi Kristen. I'm just seeing the comments pop up. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. And yeah, it's a kind of precarious setup. It doesn't look like it's gonna hold. So what I need from you, and what Gorby needs, he's looking at his crystal and he's like, please give me some advice. What he needs is some help. What is he gonna do? How is he gonna get out of this cage? I don't want to give you too many hints. And here's something kind of fun and kind of special. Whoever comments and gets the most likes, that's how we're going to decide this. Whoever comments and gets the most likes on their comment. So if you see something that's a good action for Gorby in the comments, make sure that you like that, because that winner will be eligible for a 50% off of one of our Dungeonverse sessions this weekend, where you get to do this in a closed setting where you get to respond to me live in feedback, and we actually get to tell a story that's totally unique and evolved, and we'll do it using some digital programs that are fantastic and sweet. I might even show you some later this week. But I need, and Gorby needs, your help. Put in the comments, how does he get out? How is he going to escape? Remember, he's got a few things that he kept. He's got a couple chicken bones, a piece of paper, and this crystal, and how he can kind of get some information from you. So get creative. The really cool thing about roleplay is that you don't have to say, well, I have an attack action or I have a use item action. You can do anything, anything that you can think of. So come up with your best solution, whatever that is. Try to get people to like it, because remember, we're going off the whoever gets the votes. Gorby's gonna take the most likes. He sees the thumbs up and he thinks that's a good idea. He knows thumbs up is a universal sign for, yeah, let's do that. So put it in the comments what you're gonna do, and we'll see if Gorby, we'll get you one more look at him. We'll see if you can help Gorby escape the clutches of this troll. If you are just hopping in, make sure you go back to the beginning of the video where I explain how this roleplay challenge is going to work. For now, I'm going to take our troll. I'm going to move him off to the side because he's a very heavy troll. This actually did come from one of our other New Minds people. I've got a lot of stuff from New Minds people. This is from Mr. T. If anyone knows what movie this is from, I'm going to give you a closer look. Put in the comments if you can guess what movie, what film. It's a book adaptation it is from. He's kind of gross, but he's even grosser in the film. So I'm going to put him off. I'm going to slide Gorby to the side here. Let's see if his... Now, just if his statue breaks as I move it, that doesn't count as him escaping. Or not statue, if his cage breaks. Oh, yeah, it's still intact, but man, he's definitely scared now. Oh, there may be Jenga happening at any moment. All right, so we are hopping into our next activity next. Laia says it's from The Hobbit. That is a very good guess. I really love the Hobbit story. If it was available for me to read it, I would, as a part of our story time. It is not from The Hobbit, though. That is incorrect. So while I love the reference, that it's not a winner. Gus, this is Gus Shelley. Use the crystal to chisel out the walls. Okay, so we have our first suggestion on what Gorby should do. So look, from Kate Corey Shelley, Gus Shelley is saying to use the crystal, chisel out the walls. We could see there could be a lot of different things that happen. If you have any questions about the place where Gorby is, I can't answer those in comments, but only while we're live. So you got to ask those questions while we're live. All right. We are going to hop into our art next. From Lord of the Rings? It's not from Lord of the Rings. I wish it was. I do love the cave troll, and I love Sean Bean's line, "They've got a cave troll." It's fantastic. Great actor, great film. Love that series. So, if you have your paper, your pencil, and your learning devices, or not your coloring devices, we are going to start our next art piece. We are going to create our very own wardrobe. A magical wardrobe just like the one that Lucy found that takes you to another world. I am not going to open mine yet. I'm going to get you guys started, and then I'm going to show you what's in mine. I made this right before we got on today. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm excited to show you how to do it. So make sure that you've got your paper and pencil. We are going to roll ourselves down here so you can see, and we are going to start creating our wardrobe. Now, to make this happen, you're going to want to take your paper and you're going to put it lengthwise, like this, or hamburger style. Hamburger style. Okay, and we are going to fold it hamburger style. This is for the parents out there that remember that. I'm not sure if this is still used in schools anymore, but that is a scientific method, hamburger and hot dog style. We're going to take it, we're going to fold it in half. What we're going to do is we're going to create some foldable art here. A picture within a picture. I've done this with some of my STEAM classes, but I thought, man, this is a great application to the Chronicles of Narnia, which we are reading in our story time. For those of you just tuning in, we are creating some art. So grab some pencil and paper. So once you have it folded like this, you can see I've got a nice solid crease. Whenever I was folding it, I took my fingernail and ran it along the edge. That actually helps a lot. So go ahead and try that to create that really thick crease. And here's where the folding gets a little more precise. So if some of you are a little younger and you're still working on your coordination skills, or if you're like me and your coordination skills just sometimes are lacking, then ask someone for help, but try it yourself first. So now that you have this crease, you're going to take this edge. What we wanted to do is meet right in the center. And you got to be careful here to not do what I did on mine. I'll show you in a second. I left a little bit of a gap, which I guess is fine because it's kind of like a sneak peek into what we're doing, or what you're going to see once you open it. But I wanted to really be closed up on this one that we do. So I'm folding it right here. And then I'm going to take my other edge, and I'm going to fold it over. It's almost like we're making doors, essentially. We're going to fold it over. Make sure that it gets all the way into that edge if you want it to be totally overlapped and totally hiding what's inside. Okay? Let me know if you're following along and if you have any questions about how this one works. We're going to get our paper to here, and I'm going to take this paper out from underneath and make it a little bit easier to see. Hey there, it looks like a lot of people are joining in. Good to see you. Don't forget to go back to the beginning of the stream and do our live role play and help Gorby the Goblin escape. We currently have one suggestion from Gus. I'm really hoping to see some more. All right, so now it's time to hop on to the next part where we're going to create the outside of our wardrobe. Now, you can make your wardrobe however you want. I'll go ahead and show you mine again for just a second. I added some brass rings here. They're going to be brass. I'll color them in. I created some murals here. I created Yggdrasil, and I might be butchering that pronunciation. So if anyone is familiar with how to actually pronounce that correctly, and I'm doing it wrong, let me know. I'd love to be corrected on that if I'm missing out. But Yggdrasil is the tree of life. Its roots and its branches often interconnect. I didn't do that with mine, but it's from Norse mythology, Norse culture. So I created that, created some like little textures on the side, some little birds here, and these hi, I see Kathy posted. Good to see you, Kathy. I saw the Lord of the Rings. I thought that was a guess for what the troll was from, and Lord of the Rings is incorrect. Though I do love the Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. So yeah, I got lots of stuff on the outside here, like these little murals. So I'll get a little closer so that way you can see. I'll start at the bottom. We got the little birds. Got these murals. On one side there's a war. On the other side there's peace and happiness. And then there's these roots, these knockers. Notice that the padlock is unlocked, unlocking our dreams and imaginations. Okay? And then let me go ahead. I wanted to wait until the end, but I'll go ahead and show you what it's going to look like when you open it up. So when you open it up, you want to reveal a fantasy world. And this doesn't have to be the world that we're visiting in Narnia. It doesn't have to be snowy. There doesn't have to be a lamppost. There doesn't have to be a fawn. And you'll see that mine does not have any of that. So let me go ahead and open this for us. I'm going to... You saw nothing. Gorby definitely did not escape. Remember that sometimes what happens in the real world doesn't happen in our narrative. Gorby's still trapped, I promise. He's also not crushed by walls. So when you open mine up, you can see there's a whole... Hold on. There's a whole fantasy world in here. I've got a lot of different things going on. There's an ocean. I'm going to color it in later as you all are working. I'm going to color some. And you can see when we close it back up, now it's just there. But the door is always kind of peeking open. I really love the effect that it creates when you open it. We've got a sky island. I'm a big fan of sky islands. We have a lot of those in the Masters of the Dungeon verse. It floats in the primordial void between air, fire, and water. That's a great description. What are you talking about, though? I don't know what you're referencing. Are you talking about maybe my sky island that was there? So yeah, that's what you're going to create here. Is you're going to create a wardrobe on the outside and then a landscape or a fantasy world on the inside. Maybe yours has people. I'll do one with you. So let's hop back down to the one that we're doing live. Keeping mine off to the side as a reference if you want to take a look at it. But please don't let my style influence yours. Create something that is something you want to create. Okay, so I'm going to try to do it differently this time, right? Because I did one already. Mr. Mime just standing there. The world tree. Someone recognized the world tree. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to do a classic, like, the way they used to bar doors was just these little, like, metal hooks and a board across it. You can see that in the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. They actually used that, I think, in Helm's Deep. So I'm going to put that right there. And we'll hold this up so you can see it a little bit easier at another time. Mr. Mime just standing there in Pokemon. Okay. I knew Mr. Mime was from Pokemon. I was just trying to wonder, I was trying to figure out how it's connected to what we were doing. If you were, maybe you're going to draw Mr. Mime. Okay, and then let's see. I'm going to do some long lines up the side this time as kind of an edge. Sorry, I will get my arm out of your way. I know it's kind of big. Short, but big and on the camera. If anyone has questions about my arm, I am more than happy to answer. I was actually born with my arm the way it was. But I'm happy to answer any questions people have if they haven't met an amputee, one born with it or not. Yeah, I was just born with my arm like this, so you'll see that I use my arm for a lot of things because that's very normal to me. This is my hand. It's just different shaped. Okay, so now I got this bar across. Hanson, I do remember you, though I'm having trouble placing a face because I've seen so many kids in my life, and now I'm not seeing any kids. It's all fading away. Hanson, what activity did we meet at? You don't have to give me a location, but maybe tell me, was it Turkeys Can Fly? Was it a after-school class? Jake, good to see you. I am excited to see you this Sunday for a D&D session. if you end up joining us. I know you didn't join us last weekend, but we'd love to see you again. So Jake, thanks for stopping in. So I hope you all are creating your wardrobe. I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to do some triangles here. And remember, after the post ends, to go into this video and comment pictures of what you make. I really, really love to see what you all make. I miss the feedback of like seeing you guys create things. That's one of the reasons I love Masters of the Dungeonverse, is it allows me to see awesome people create awesome things, and knowing that they're just going to keep going on and creating more awesome things too. I'm excited to meet with my writers group again this Sunday. Looking forward to that if any of you are out there. All right, we need something else on here. Does anyone have any ideas on what we could add? Hanson, you can join the D&D session. We are actually hosting D&D sessions on Saturday. We've got one running at 12, 2, and 4, and in interest of making this accessible to everyone, while we've got a lot of things going along a lot of financial instability, I've actually dropped the price from $25 to $20, and if you comment the best solution to save Gorby, you can get 50% off, which is more exciting for your parents than for you. But that is on Saturdays. So anyone have any ideas on what we can add to this? I think I'm going to add some flowers here, just because that's different than what I did before. So I'm going to add some flowers. Although I did have a tree. Oh, Hanson. Gotcha. Yes, I can teach you how to play. Hanson, I remember you now. It took my brain a minute to go through everything. I remember you now. I've got your face in my head. It's good to see you. Yes, those Saturday sessions, we teach you how to play. We give you characters to play. The whole thing, we take care of that. You're good. I'm going to draw an apple because I can't think of anything else right now. I put all of my creative energy into that first one. Draw an apple. So maybe a banana. And then we'll do a basket. It's wicker. It's a wicker basket. This is a weird wardrobe. I don't think I would do well in a wardrobe creation business. People be like, why is there an apple? What's wrong with you? Put some grapes in there. Another banana. A couple bananas. Maybe a banana this way. So many bananas. I'm actually allergic to bananas. I can't eat them. I love them, though. What else? So in Narnia, they say that the wardrobe that they have, there was a mirror. So I'm going to add a little mirror to ours. Remember, you don't have to make yours look like that, but like I said, I put all my ideas into the last one. Put a little sheen on it. On Facebook, I drew a radish with a gun. Okay, I like it. All right, anyone? I don't see any ideas for what to put in there. I'm gonna go with Mr. Mime just standing there because no one has said anything yet. So I'm gonna put Mr. Mime over here. Gotta try to remember what he looked like. I think he's got like a little body like that. I might be adding some like circles. Oh yeah, no, this doesn't look like Mr. Mime at all. Sorry for any Pokemon purists out there. I'm seeing that my video is a little dark, so sorry about that, guys. I've got my laptop set up in a way that's kind of blocking the light, but it looks like there's more light over here, so I'll shift it. How about that? Let me know if that's easier or harder to see. I drew a guy with no torso, and he looks derpy. That happens sometimes. Okay, so there's my awful attempt at Mr. Mime. Oh my, this is not good. This is so bad. Oh, and now it's on the internet forever. Oh, that's great. There's Mr. Mime just standing there. Let me go ahead and put this embarrassment right up there. Okay, I drew a guy with no torso. So now we've got a little bit on the outside. I want to hop into the inside. That's the part that's a little more fun. Open it up. I saw extensive mountain range. Man, I love drawing mountains. So I'm going to draw some mountains. I am going to turn it a little bit, make it a little easier for me to draw these mountains. You saw this yesterday maybe in my map making. I like to just create these really overlapping triangles. Always, nothing happened. Put some frost up at the top. Something I used to do when I was younger and I drew mountains, I would always put like a little cave. So there's a little cave there. And so mountains generally have something around them better than I can draw. I'm not a professional artist by any means. I only draw out of hobby and out of love. I've been drawing for, I've been drawing since I was young, but I started trying to practice drawing seriously in high school, and man, some of my stuff is so much better than it used to be. Drawing is all a process of growing. Anything that we do, it's a process of growing. So just take your time, enjoy the process of creating, and create more and more and more and more and more and more, and eventually you'll get better. That's kind of how it works. You just have to make, and unfortunately, when you start, it doesn't always look like what you want it to look like. All right, so I've got an extensive mountain range. Anyone else have any ideas? I'm looking through. I don't see any. Sorry, when you see my hand doing this, I'm scrolling through the chat. Okay, so generally mountains are very close to hills. Hi Shayna, I just saw you hop in. Good to see you. Hope your little guy is there too. Not that he's going to enjoy this as much, but we miss him. Malcolm did talk about Oh No Baby Again yesterday, just kind of out of the blue. I believe he thinks that is your child's name, which is hilarious to me. So generally around mountains there are hills. It's just kind of a geography trait. So I'm going to put some hills in here. But we need something else to really set off this. A gigantic house cat. I love it. We need to... Alright. Anyone else? Leaving me hanging. Well, thank you, Hanson, for throwing the extensive mountain range, because that's most of our drawing right now. Let's put a sunrise. Or sunset. I guess we can't really tell. I like to do these little lines coming out for the sunbeams. Sometimes maybe kind of have them come out. No, doesn't really look good that way. Just leaving it like that. We could add a couple of different things, but I do want to make sure we have some time for our cartography. So I'm gonna take the next few minutes to add a couple more things. If anyone comments in, I will add that into our drawing. But then we'll move on to our maps. So if you made a map yesterday, make sure to grab that map and bring it back. If you didn't make a map yesterday, you can kind of create your own map, drawing some squiggly lines for the coast, or you can take a real quick look at my video of how to do it. Basically, we throw some stuff down, like rice or beans or Legos, and we trace an outline, and then we fill it in using some dice if you have them. If you don't have dice, though, anything that's colored. Hi, Aaron, 4 years old. Good to see you. T-Rex. Malcolm also loves T-Rexes, so I'm going to draw. I used to draw this in high school all the time. I would put it on the back of my tests, and my teacher had a collection of them. I'm going to draw my old baby dinosaur. It's been a long time since I've drawn him, but this is for you, Aaron. I'm going to draw you that, and he'll be next to a royal crab. Those will be the last two things that we do today. So for my baby dinosaur, I do a long swooping tail up. He's got a big tail. His legs kind of come out here. He's got a big little haunch. I like to give him a little belly because I think dinosaurs with bellies are cute. Give him his little tiny arms. His head goes up like this. His jaw comes back. He's got his teeth. I just do a straight zigzag. big ol' eyes here. Sometimes he looks kind of scared because he's a baby dinosaur, so he's still getting used to everything. So here, I'm going to put it up close for you, Aaron. Here's our baby dinosaur. Ooh, he is a little scared because he's looking at all those mountains. He's like, I can't climb. My tail is way too big. And a royal crab. We'll draw a royal crab as well. And here is our, oh no, baby dinosaur. And here's our royal crab. So take a real quick look at our sample, and then we're going to hop into our next piece of art and activity for today. All right, everything's still good on my video. I'm going to pan it back up for just a second. Whew, bit of an adjustment. Hanson, I'm not going to try to pronounce your... Okay, I will try to pronounce your word. I'm going to go back up. I didn't want to embarrass myself, but I already made Mr. Mime. Okay. So for any of you who want to know like what on earth I'm trying to say, look up to one of Hanson's comments earlier under Kathy Howe. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name. It's a very long word in English, the longest word in English. Okay. Pneumotrimicroscoposilikovolcaniconiosis. Oh, that was not close. I know that wasn't. Oh, that was rough. Thank you, Hanson, though, for sharing it. I am so sorry that you're stuck, but I'm glad that you're able to tune in and join us for a little bit and have some time hanging out. We're stuck as well. My wife, my son, and I, we're all hanging out at home, and we're all learning new things about each other and about our boundaries and about how much we want to be a seesaw for Malcolm. All sorts of interesting things. So last look at the sample that I made with you all today and with some of your comments. We've got Mr. Mime just standing there, a flower with some apples and bananas and a mirror, just like in Narnia, a big wooden log across the door, some interesting designs, opening up to reveal an extensive mountain landscape brought to us by one of our commenters, filled with some hills, a little cave from my past drawing, and then, oh, I'm really bad at holding this. And then little baby dinosaur, and royal crab. So there we go. There's that wardrobe, and I'll take one last look at my sample for those of you just looking in. This is one I made before. Create some design on the outside for your wardrobe, maybe tell a story and some murals, and then open it up to reveal some cool fantasy world. This is your fantasy world, maybe where you're going to escape to. Like I said, I love Sky Islands because we have a lot of them in Dungeonverse, and in the fantasy story that I have begun a long time ago and still work on here and there is there's tons of Sky Islands. They're everywhere. I just love the idea of that, being able to look up in the sky and see a chunk of rock and know that you could climb up to that. That would be a very, very neat world to live in. So up next, speaking of worlds, we are going to add to our map that we started yesterday. So if you are here and you have your map, go ahead and pull that back out. I'm going to leave it up for just a second while you all do that. Check the comments and see if I missed anyone. So I only got that one comment, so if you're checking in, make sure to go back to the beginning of the video once we're done being live here, and check out our live roleplay experience in which you get to help free our friend Gorby the Goblin, who is stuck in a perilous predicament. Gorby has been caught by a troll, and he needs your assistance in escaping. He has found a crystal that allows him to communicate with all of these people who are gathered around their own flat screens, looking at them and offering advice. So help save Gorby, you remember that the highest comment, the comment with the most likes, that one is going to be eligible for a chance for 50% off our session of Dungeons and Dragons or Masters of the Dungeonverse, where we do play sometimes Dungeons and Dragons. Masters of the Dungeonverse this weekend, we've got 3 sessions, 12 and 2 and 4. I have now discounted them to $20. And you already, if you go back and watch my first video, you can get a discount code for 20% off. So we're offering up to 70% off for the winner if they go back and watch the first video. So we would love to see you all come out. We want to make sure that that's accessible and available to you all. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm just going to go ahead and drop my email in the comments for any parents who have questions about that program. I'm more than happy to give you more information on that. So without further ado, get your maps in front of you, get your dice or your colored objects, anything that we can use to differentiate, and let's add a little bit to our map. Went back and watched my video from yesterday and realized I got the inn and dragon backwards, which is kind of funny. I'm going back on it because I was like, oh yeah, I got everything right. And then I went back and I was like, oh, no, I didn't. So yesterday we added a lot to our land. We got some deserts going on here and a mountain range that spreads almost from north to south along with the desert, some forests over here, and just a village and a castle. We need some other things, so we're going to make another table like we did yesterday. I'm going to create the table right here. One, two, three, four, five, six. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to decide what kind of people live in this world. We're going to put humans, of course, because there's almost always humans in a fantasy world. But what else do you want to be in there? This doesn't have to be from Dungeons and Dragons. This could be from one of your favorite shows. Maybe it's the Vikings from Burke. Comment to see what is going to be in here. I'll add something down here. Let's do, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do trolls from the show. This one might be for our older viewers, like 13. You'll have to check the rating on it. But I think it comes from Pixar, and it's on Netflix. It's called Troll Hunters. It's a very fun show. The main character is voiced by one of my very favorite actors, Anton Yelkin, who plays Chekhov in the new Star Trek reboot that came out under J.J. Abrams. So I'm going to put the trolls from Troll Hunter. They're really cool. I really like that show. It's a fun one. Any comments for what we should add in? I'll only wait a couple minutes. I'll add some stuff in soon. I'll go ahead and put elves. I mean, we should have some elves, right? Let's do magic crabs, because we had crabs come up earlier. Some crabs that can use magic. Anyone from my Masters of the Dungeonverse program, they do know at least one wizard crab. Maybe this is where he comes from. He runs a shop. He's a cool guy, though he only talks and clicks for the most part. So magic crab. Any comments? Dragons? Oh, Miss Cosamano. I miss all of my friends, teachers that I see at other schools as well. It's so strange to be on this forced break, but I'm glad we're able to connect. Dragons. Okay, we're putting dragons in there. We had dragons in our table yesterday, but they didn't make. So we got dragons. That was one more. There's one more. What are we going to do? Orcs. Orcs. Who said that? It's New Minds, but who's behind that New Me logo saying orcs? Okay, so now this is where we take the dice, and I roll it on my map to kind of see who lives where. So I'm going to start with a little roll, try to... Okay, there's a 6. 6 are trolls. Okay, so now I think we should do to see how big the population is. We're going to roll the 6 again, the d6, and see the higher the number, the more population, the lower the number, or the middle the number. Dropped your binder off. I'm glad that you got some work to keep you busy, Hanson. Okay, so 3. This is going to be a middle-sized troll town. So I'm going to... For my towns, I just do kind of open triangles with some lines down. And then you come to the front of that where those lines are going and you put some more triangles. And this makes it look like your town kind of has rows of people. You can even put in some triangles right there. Okay, and this is troll. This is troll land. No enchanted brains. Justin suggested orcs. I like it. Thank you, Justin, for your suggestion. Okay, let's roll again and see what we get. Well, let's roll them all at once. Well, we got, ooh, 2 on different sides of the mountains. I wonder if they're allies or, oh, and 1 right next to the trolls. Humans next to the trolls? Interesting. We'll roll again for the humans. Oh, it's just a tiny little place. So it's just a couple of humans have set up this little village. And that line is a little, what could that line be? We'll say that the trolls built them a wall to help protect them in this new land. Because maybe the humans came from over here and they landed and they were getting attacked by the things that the trolls were used to dealing with. And so the trolls were nice and they built a wall for them. So we'll put a wall right there. Okay, let's roll for this one. 2 magic crabs live here. Oh, that makes sense, and it's right by a lake. I love it when it works out like that. So magic crabs. Let me write humans over here. Humans. And the magic crabs, we'll give them kind of like an underwater palace. That makes sense for them, right? We'll make it look like a crab. See, it's got these, well, you can't see it from where you're at. So 1 is humans over here, and there's just a few humans over here as well. It's not a lot. Sorry, I know you can't see right now. I apologize. Humans there, and we'll put the magic crabs here. We've got a couple more minutes, so if any suggestions to add to the map, or we'll roll a couple more. Please, enchanted brains? Oh, please. Oh, you want to add enchanted brains instead of... Okay, well, let's take something off. Let's take humans off. We've rolled them twice. We're going to add enchanted brains. I don't know what that means, but I love it. Is that from something? Enchanted brains. Okay. Let's see what enchanted brains. Hi, Ben. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. We're just finishing up adding some population to our map and stuff. Okay, so let's roll a couple more times then. Gonna roll all of them at once. We got enchanted brains on there now. Okay, so we've got trolls down in the desert. Just a few trolls. Not a lot. We rolled a 1. So if you don't have dice, you can also use colors. You could assign different colors. And like, let's say you have Skittles or something, you could throw a bunch of Skittles down, and blue Skittles or red Skittles represent one thing. And if there's more red than blue, then that's who lives there. Or maybe they both live there. So get creative with the way you come up with that. So we'll just do 1 troll hut out here. Just 1 troll in his hut. Or her hut. And then we did have enchanted brains, and there's a lot of them. So I'm going to say that they have built like a giant brain castle or something. It connects to the earth here. Enchanted brains. And there's a lot of them, man. That's awesome. Thanks for throwing that in. Okay, we had 5 over here. We have some elves living on the coast. Let's see how many elves. There's so many elves. They've got this whole area, I've decided. Elves all live here. They've got probably some really cool towers and cool buildings. So I mentioned our Saturday sessions coming up. Mr. Walter is going to talk about them a little bit too, because Mr. Walter is one of our game runners, and he will be running one of those sessions. I'll let you know. So if you're watching Around the World here coming up in a little bit. So we got some elves there, and then this was 2 more magic crabs, again on the coast, so that makes sense. How many magic crabs? A lot. Oh, brains from Harry Potter. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, there's only a few magic crabs here. So since there's more here, I'm thinking maybe this was their first place and they sent a colonizing attempt to colonize the coast. And so they've done the same thing. They've built a tower 2 towers. I'll show you that in a second. What I mean, making their castles look like crabs. Okay, and I think that's all we're going to add to this for today, because I want to leave, I don't want to roll anymore. So I'll make some roads connecting it. I think the enchanted brains might be the bad guys. I don't know. We'll see. So there's a road here between the magic crabs and the elves, and then the magic crabs have created a road that goes around the desert, but probably also connects to the elves there. Okay, the magic crabs and the humans, these few humans here, I think the humans live in this castle. Probably that's their castle, and maybe there is a tunnel, and the tunnel runs through the mountains and lets out over here into the magic crab land. But you have to travel underneath the mountains, like through the mines of Moria. Okay, the trolls, let's see. I think the trolls probably have something that goes right up, and then maybe there's a little sea route or lake route through here, and then maybe there's another way through the forest. So I could see trolls doing both. And then we'll make this a troll village up there too. And maybe the trolls and the magic crabs have been trying to connect, but their roads haven't been complete, because let's find some conflict in our map. These brains just emerged and they're trying to split the humans and crabs. Maybe they're also trying to come over here. Maybe they're trying to keep things from being connected. I don't know. Enchanted brains seem like they should be a bad guy to me. But feel free to comment what you think. I'm going to show you my close-ups on my castles for you, so you can see the crabs. And move some of this stuff off. I'm going to tilt the screen back up. All right, there we are. For those of you just tuning in, remember to go back to the beginning and experience our live roleplay. Well, it won't be live for you at that point, but you can still comment how to save our friend Gorby. Okay, so let me show you some of those details that I put up close. So when I was making the crab castles, I tried to make the towers come up really high over the base, so that way they look like the stalks of eyes, the stalks of the crab's eyes. Hold on, it's mirrored, so it's a little hard. There we go. Other way. There we go. So you can see those little details out of the road. So yeah, this map is coming along. We're starting to get a little bit of a story. I think we need to fill in these islands, or maybe the islands are empty because something happened to the humans. They are using math rays, causing headaches in the road workers. I love it. Okay, so yeah, I have support for the brains being the bad guys. Thank you for that. So we'll keep working on these maps. Remember, you can color them, you can add them in. After this video is over, definitely go in and share what you created. I love to see it. I got a couple pictures the first day, and I haven't got as many since then, so I'd love to see some more. But now it is time for our story time. So we'll reveal that the fire has been here the whole time. It never left us. Oh, and I forgot to say that beautiful sign that I have up came from Mr. T as well. He created that for us when he saw the sign that I made overnight before our launch. Let me get you real close to see some of the details on this beautiful piece of art. Mr. T came in and he added these beautiful textures. We got some tree roots and stones. I love it. It's one of those things that you can just really dive into, some scales. It's absolutely beautiful. So Mr. T, if you're out there watching, thank you again for this fantastic sign. I love it. And it is a beautiful piece to look at. The humans blew themselves up with nukes. I don't know if we have nukes in this fantasy world. Maybe they blew themselves up with magical nukes. They discovered a new magic. Okay, so if you are staying with us for story time, we are going to finish up where we left off Mr. Tumnus's tea time. We got about 10 minutes. I really enjoy this time reading these stories with you. So if this is something that you enjoy, you'd like to see more of it, feel free to comment. I am open to doing some more readings on YouTube Live, if that's something that people are interested in seeing. All right. So for those of you who are just joining us in our story time, basically what has happened so far is these four young kids have left London because of the war, and they're at this estate off in the distance, or off in the country, far away from everything, and they're searching through this house when one of them finds a wardrobe. Well, they all find a wardrobe, but only one of them actually opens it and looks into it. And when she goes in, as she goes further into the wardrobe, it turns into a wood with snow. So she's now in a forest, and she meets this faun, Mr. Tumnus, Tumnus, she calls him Mr. Tumnus because Lucy is very polite, and he has taken her back to his cave to have some tea. So we're going to hop back in there. I'll go back one sentence so that way we get back into our scene. Then Mr. Tumnus stooped and took a flaming piece of wood out of the fire with a neat little pair of tongs and lit a lamp. "Now we shan't be long," he said, and immediately put a kettle on. Lucy thought she had never been in a nicer place. It was a little, dry, clean cave of reddish stone with a carpet on the floor and two little chairs. "One for me and one for a friend," said Mr. Tumnus, "and a table and a dresser and a mantelpiece over the fire, and above that a picture of an old faun with a grey beard." In one corner there was a door which Lucy thought must lead to Mr. Tumnus's bedroom, and on one wall was a shelf full of books. Lucy looked at these while he was setting out the tea things. They had titles like The Life and Letters of Silenus, or Nymphs and Their Ways, or Men, Monks, and Gamekeepers, A Study in Popular Legend, or Is Man a Myth? "Now, Dr. Revive," said the faun, and it really was a wonderful tea. There was a nice brown egg, lightly boiled, for each of them, and then sardines on toast, and then buttered toast, and then toast with honey, and then a sugar-topped cake. Sounds really good. And when Lucy was tired of eating, the faun began to talk. He had wonderful tales to tell of life in the forest. He told about the midnight dances, and how the nymphs who lived in the wells and the dryads who lived in the trees came out to dance with the fauns, about long hunting parties after the milk-white stag who could give you wishes if you caught him, about feasting and treasure-seeking with the wild red dwarfs in the deep mines and caverns far beneath the forest floor, and then about summer when the woods were green and old Silenus on his fat donkey would come to visit them, and sometimes Bacchus himself, and then the streams would run with wine instead of water, and the whole forest would give itself up to jollification for weeks on end. Not that it isn't always winter now," he added gloomily. Then, to cheer himself up, he took out from its case on the dresser a strange little flute that looked as if it were made of straw, and began to play. And the tune he played made Lucy want to cry and laugh and dance and go to sleep all at the same time. It must have been hours later when she shook herself and said, "Oh, Mr. Tumnus, I'm so sorry to stop you, and I do love that tune, but really I must go home. I only meant to stay for a few minutes." "It's no good now, you know," said the faun, laying down its flute and shaking its head at her very sorrowfully. "No good?" said Lucy, jumping up and feeling rather frightened. "What do you mean? I've got to go home at once. The others will be wondering what has happened to me." But a moment later she asked, "Mr. Tumnus, whatever is the matter?" For the faun's brown eyes had filled with tears, and then the tears began trickling down its cheeks, and soon they were running off the end of its nose, and at last it covered its face with its hands and began to howl. "Mr. Tumnus," said Lucy in great distress. Don't! What is the matter? Aren't you well? Dear Mr. Tumnus, do tell me, what is wrong?" But the faun continued sobbing as if his heart would break, and even when Lucy went over and put her arms round him and lent him her handkerchief, he did not stop. He merely took the handkerchief and kept on using it, wringing it out, both hands, whenever it got too wet to be of any more use, so that presently Lucy was standing in a damp patch. "Mr. Tumnus," bawled Lucy in his ear, shaking him, do stop it at once. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, a great big faun like you. What on earth are you crying about?" Oh, sobbed Mr. Tumnus. "I'm crying because I'm such a bad faun." I don't think you're a bad fawn at all, said Lucy. I think you are a very good fawn. You are the nicest fawn I have ever met. Oh, you wouldn't say that if you knew, replied Mr. Tumnus between his sobs. No, I'm a bad fawn. I don't suppose there ever was a worse fawn since the beginning of the world. But what have you done? Asked Lucy. My old father now, said Mr. Tumnus. That's his picture over the mantelpiece. He would never have done a thing like this. A thing like what? Said Lucy. Like what I've done, said the fawn. Taken service under the White Witch. That's what I am. I am in the pay of the White Witch. The White Witch? Who is she? Why, it is she who has got all Narnia under her thumb. It is she who makes it always winter, and never Christmas. Think of that. How awful, said Lucy. But what does she pay you for? That's the worst of it, said Mr. Tumnus, with a deep groan. I'm a kidnapper for her. That's what I am. Look at me, daughter of Eve. Would you believe that I'm the sort of fawn to meet a poor innocent child in the wood, one that had never done me any harm, and pretend to be friendly with it and invite it home to my cave, all for the sake of lulling it asleep and then handing it over to the White Witch? No, said Lucy. I'm sure you wouldn't do anything of the sort. But I have, said the fawn. Well, said Lucy rather slowly, for she wanted to be truthful and yet not too hard on him. Well, that was pretty bad, but you're so sorry for it that I'm sure you will never do it again. Daughter of Eve, don't you understand, said the fawn. It isn't something I have done. I'm doing it now, this very moment. What do you mean? Cried Lucy, turning very white. You are the child, said Tumnus. I had orders from the White Witch that if I ever saw a son of Adam or a daughter of Eve in the wood, I was to catch them and hand them over to her. And you are the first I have ever met, and I pretended to be your friend and asked you to tea, and all the time I've been meaning to wait till you were asleep and then go and tell her. Oh, but you won't, Mr. Tumnus, said Lucy. You won't, will you? Indeed, you really mustn't. And if I don't, said he, beginning to cry again, she's sure to find out, and she'll have my tail cut off, and my horns sawn off, and my beard plucked out, and she'll wave her wand over my beautiful cloven hooves, and turn them into horrid solid hoofs, like a wretched horse's. And if she is extra and specially angry, she'll turn me into stone, and I shall be only a statue of a fawn in her horrible house, until the 4 thrones at Cair Paravel are filled. And goodness knows when that will happen, or whether it will ever happen at all. I'm very sorry, Mr. Tumnus, said Lucy, but please let me go home. Of course I will, said the fawn. Of course I've got to. I see that now. I hadn't known what humans were like before I met you. Of course I can't give you up to the witch, not now that I know you, but we must be off at once. I'll see you back to the lamppost. I suppose you can find your own way back to spare and wardrobe? I'm sure I can. We must go as quietly as we can. The wood is full of her spies. They both got up and left the things on the table, and Mr. Tumnus once more put up his umbrella and gave Lucy his arm, and they went out into the snow. The journey back was not at all like the journey to the fawn's cave. They stole along as quickly as they could without speaking a word, and Mr. Tumnus kept to the darkest places. Finally, they arrived. Farewell, daughter of Eve, said he. Perhaps I may keep the handkerchief? Rather, said Lucy, and then ran towards the far-off patch of daylight as quickly as her legs would carry her. She ran into the wardrobe, and instead of feeling the crunching snow, she felt coats, and she felt the wood beneath her feet. Finally, she shut the wardrobe door tightly behind her and looked around, panting for breath. It was still raining, and she could hear the voices of the others in the passage. I'm here, she shouted. I'm here. I've come back. I'm all right. And we will end there. Mr. Walter is up next. I ran it right into the end. Thank you all. Have an excellent day. Don't forget to help out Gorby.